On behalf of the Ministry of VROMI, I would like to introduce all that are sitting here with me. To my far right, we have Mr. Otmar Yunus, the representative of the Cabinet of the Ministry. Beside me, to my direct right, we have Lexi Velasquez, who's the PR representative of the Ministry of VROMI. To my far left, we have Mr. Edelmiro Janssen, who's the operations manager of the Department of Infrastructure Management. To my direct left, we have Mr. Raymond Chittick, who is the project leader, who will be carrying the project of the Floodgate restoration and expansion from beginning to end. My name is Claudius Bancamper. I'm the department head of the Department of Infrastructure Management at the Ministry of VROMI. The project of Floodgate expansion is a project that is derived out of the report of IHE UNESCO, which was made a few years back, giving an indication to the government of St. Martin what has to be done that proper water management can take place during the different stages of torrential rains and or calamities. We were talking about a storm of 10 years, a storm of 20 years, a storm of 50 years, or a storm of 100 years. Each of those carry an amount of water capacity over a sustained period of 1 hour or more. The Floodgate expansion, like I said, is one of the 3 components that does carry the complete water management of the Greater Phillipsburg and Cul-de-sac Basin. The first component were the stormwater pumping facility pumps. We placed 3 new pumps in the Great Salt Pond in the span of 3 years. They carry a total capacity of approximately, worst case scenario, about 87,000 gallons per minute. And at highest capacity, which would be a maximum of approximately 2 hours of pumping, at high speed, they can carry approximately 140,000 gallons per minute. In the last torrential rains, we were very unfortunate to have an issue with 2 of our pumps, which made water management a little more difficult for us than we had hoped to. One of the problems was that the salt pond could not take all the rainwater that came in one shot because the floodgate only had a certain capacity. To be very precise, a capacity of a maximum of 5 meters passage, volume of approximately 5 square meters, area of passage. The expansion, in accordance to IHE UNESCO, we are going to now create any place between 10.5 to 12 square meters of passage, meaning that we have built for a 100-year storm. All of the water that comes down in the channel behind the ball field, because that's the Zigasgat channel that comes down by the bridge, all of that water will be directed directly to the floodgate, and the new floodgate will open up, and that water will have a free passage. A passage that can take all of the water that is accumulated in the hills through that channel. It is constructed in such a way that the water speed will not exceed the danger limits of 3 meters per second. So the water will not flow faster than 3 meters per second because we have enough volume. These are the thoughts behind the construction design of that second phase of the IHE UNESCO plan, which we are now executing. The third phase, which is now being prepared for tender, is the extension of the Zigasgat Trench all the way under the Zigasgat Bridge, behind the bird lookout, making a 90-degree turn towards the floodgate. That is the third phase. That phase will be constructed in 2015, and then we would have complied with the IHE UNESCO requirements to be able to do proper water management of the salt pond and the fresh pond. Today I will explain to you the time frame and the project of the second part of the IHE UNESCO report requirements, which is the expansion and reconstruction of the floodgate located at the 88 roundabout with Zeger's Gut. The commencement time has been set for November 2014. Anyone that has passed the floodgate lately would have seen some maneuvering going on down there. There were two stages. The first stage was to allocate all the utilities, and the second stage was commencement of work. On both sides of the floodgate, we are confronted with utilities. On the eastern side, we are confronted with all the high tension wires from GB that go to the substation, but the more difficult one was the water pipe, the main line, the main water feed line that went under the channel, but then came back up on the sides and then made its way to both sides of the island. The side from Faircost Papers, Odibert agencies, that line has to be relocated. It does not interfere directly with the placement of the culverts, so that will take place in the course of tomorrow, but I will come with that in the project just now. The total time frame for the project is approximately 3.5 months. We hope to have everything in place by the end of February, and then we will still have another month of tweaking and fine-tuning the floodgate itself prior to giving up the project in April 2015. One of the more important parts today, we have already had a meeting with all stakeholders that have property and or businesses in the direct vicinity of the construction site. We have spoken to all of them yesterday, and they have now concurred and understood exactly what's happening and how it's going to happen. We know the season is normally not the best season to work. It's either now, before the Christmas, or after the Christmas, within the high season. The choices are not very big for us. It's a 4-month project. Whichever way we turn it, we will never be out of the hurricane season and out of the high season at the same time. That cannot happen because it's a 4-month duration. Hurricane season is from the 1st of June to the end of November. High season is from the 15th of November to the end of April. There is no 4 months in between. We would overlap. We prefer to overlap in the high season than in the hurricane season, where we are confronted very often with rainfall. At this point in time, I'm going to move towards the board so I can give a better elucidation of what's going to happen with the traffic starting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. This is the floodgate here. This is where the works are taking place. Anyone coming down from Mount William Hill or from the Arch Road cannot use the 88 Road once they pass the roundabout or the eddies auto supply. They'll have to continue on to Zeger's Gut and get on to the Bush Road. If they want to go to town, we would advise them, take the Arch Road, take the road by the dump, and you will get back into town much easier. If you're coming from town, you cannot go to Dutch Quarter using the 88 Road unless you go and make the turn by Zeger's Gut, the Shell gas station, and make your way there. We advise you, please take the road of Sucker Garden and make your way through Bishop Hill into Dutch Quarter, or use the Arch Road into Dutch Quarter. For the businesses that are located, Odibert agencies, Faircost Papers, Glow's Dialer Basket, for them, a tentative road has been constructed in the back on the Ring Road. We have received permission from Sam's Supermarket to use their concrete road that comes down here. I will show a good drawing of that just now, so that all business owners, all clients can get to them during the duration of the process, of the whole project, sorry. This road closure starts on Friday evening, 7:30 to 8 o'clock. And it will go, we are working 24/7. So there's no break in the work until the culverts have been laid, the road has been compacted, the asphalt has been relayed, and the road has been opened. We are trying to make the deadline of Monday morning, 6 o'clock. Mr. Raymond Chittick is the one that is fully in charge of this project. He will be assisted naturally by Mr. Janssen, Edelmiro Janssen, the operations manager, and Leah Danya, because we are talking about a continuous work schedule of 48 hours. They are human beings, the contractors are human beings, so we will be rotating every 12 hours. So the one you see in the morning, you will not see him there at night. But the continuation is going to be guaranteed that way, weather permitting, and not giving us a rainfall. We have naturally prepared for such if that happens. We will then be most probably extending the schedule of work, but we are hoping that we are not confronted with such, and that we have to then easily continue with such. All the road markings that you see here in yellow are the indicational signs that will be on the road to clearly ensure all drivers that the road, there is no true passage on the 80 road from Friday evening up until Monday morning, 6 o'clock. If there is a change, for whatever reason, the PR person of VROMI, Mrs. Velasquez, and or Mr. Chittick will, through DACOM, pass on the necessary information to the media that you can print on Monday morning that the project has hit a snag and the road is still closed. So we will then try to get that information out so that the road users will not be surprised on Monday morning when they're going to school that they can't use the road. We will try to make sure that we can pass on that information. But again, we hope to have it ready by Monday morning, 6 o'clock. To ensure that these businesses do not suffer unnecessary interruption, because they will suffer interruption and we are aware of such, we have created a true pass in the back here, right back into the big parking lot behind the Faircus, so that clients can park there and the people can get to their business. And for Globe Dial Basket, who's located over here, we will see if we can still maintain a walkway so that walking clients can especially get to that particular area, as many people go to buy flowers there and order a basket for the Christmas season. So we will try to accommodate if the safety aspect can be guaranteed on the project. If we cannot guarantee this safety, then with the passage, then we will not do so. Then they would have to make use of the road that we have created for them. This is the project description area. There are three principal pieces. This is the culvert as you know it now. This is the roundabout up here. This is Faircus, Odibad agencies, Faircus, etc., etc. This that you see in blue is being demolished completely. It's coming off completely, coming out. So this road deck will be shifted and moved. We will cut this green that you see here is the existing culvert. You can see it over here. This is the existing one. This will be removed. You can see it in yellow. Whatever you see in yellow means it's being removed. This blue is being totally rebuilt. The difference with the old project and the new project is this was the culvert. This is the old line here. This was your culvert. The new line, you can see, comes all the way under and goes under this blue, which is road. So we are going back to the system that we have used in the past in Wellington Road, where under the road, the main culvert for the welfare road lies. And it comes out there beside National Car Rental. You see a big discharge into the lagoon. That concept is being used under here. This becomes the new trench. From here to there. This becomes the new passage, 10 meters in width. Right? These are how the concrete culverts look. So to give you an idea, this is being laid beside the existing culverts. So this is not replacing, this is the new section that we added in. You can see they're substantially of size. I think you can stand up in here, bro. I think you might stand up in the short one. I think you can stand up in there, and you will get a good view. Starting Friday evening, 7 o'clock. The intention is to place 14 of these at the roundabout. 14 of these are going in, and that will then that will be the expansion of the culverts itself. That is just one section, right? You can clearly see it here. This is more a technical aspect of what's happening. All of these are the 14 new ones that are coming in. This is the existing one. We are now placing this one here. And you can see in the past, the road was going like this. Sorry, like this. We are now taking out a piece of this road, creating a new culvert, and putting a different bend in it to be able to now take out all of the water. The past culvert was something like a big, a lazy U. It is now becoming a big, massive U. And these retaining walls that you see here in green are going in immediately. That's why we are now ripping open the back part already. Go ahead. Just to give you an idea what will happen and the time frame it will happen. What we call the A walls and the A floor, that's what you're seeing being dug right now from on the eastern side. Consider this, please, the road and the roundabout is here, just to give you all an impression of where we are. This that you see in red here, this is the road, just for safety's sake that you understand. The pink lines are the road. We are working beside the road here. This is coming out, and the whole new retaining walls and new floor. So the new gutter on the eastern side will be in before December 20th. Before we go on Christmas holidays, this is completely in. The same goes for part of the B walls. That is these sections and the B floor where the floodgate is going to be rested on are all going in prior to December 20th. There's a very specific reason we are forcing and pushing this work. This work needs to cure. This concrete needs to cure. And we want to use the recess holidays of the contractors, which is from December 20th to the 11th of January. That gives us 3 weeks of time for the concrete to cure. This concrete is approximately 25 to 30 centimeters thick. It needs curing time, and water can pass over it, but the concrete needs time to cure. So in that context, it will flow as a trench. That's not an issue, but it needs to come to strength. And that's what will happen during the Christmas holidays. The road is fully usable and will be fully operational and open. The only thing that is not open is naturally the passage coming in here. This passage still will not be usable because this wall would have been poured, but this would not have been poured. And this is the driveway into these properties. So again, Faircross and them, Glow, Dial Basket, Dow's Musical Foundation will not be able to be reached from the ATLH road. They have to make use of the alternative road that we created, turning in there by Sonny's Food in the parking lot, just driving straight to the back. All the indicational signs have been made and will be up prior to opening up the road and destroying this part of the road. Next one. Starting the 12th of January, once we have had the curing, we will be putting in these three decks, and this will then immediately make the access to the businesses on this side usable, let's say approximately the end of February, because these decks are 25 centimeters thick, I believe. What do you think? 25? They would need a curing period of at least 2 to 3 weeks. So we hope by the first week in February to be able to open back up the access to those businesses that they lose starting Friday now. This is trying to give you a view of what is exactly happening by the floodgate. This is the section of how it will look in the new version. So this is the road, as you see how it used to be. This is what we are now taking out as road, putting in floodgate underground, putting in huge pillars in here, and then covering it back up with concrete and tying it back onto this point over here. So this is what you will then see here. Basically, this coverage comes on, and then the trench remains under here. This is the trench. This is the road on top of the trench. Just to give you an idea that under this road, there will be a full trench. That's the concept of the floodgate. Right. This is how it will look schematically. This picture is not a correct picture. Please don't use it as such. I know it looks pretty, and it will fix up your front page, but it does not exist like this. This was the original design, which was turned down because we wanted a full U and not a lazy U. That would give us, it's a deeper layout and a stronger layout. We were afraid that the sides might be damaged faster because we don't have full strength on how to hold the wall together with steel and so. So we preferred a section of standing walls instead of slanted walls. And then we would not take more property from the owners next door. By putting the wall straight up and a little higher, we would safeguard their property loss and at the same time prevent water being able to go over the wall into their property. So it was a win-win on both sides. Well, these are the floodgates. Please don't underestimate these heights. These are about 4 meters in total. This is a very impressive structure when you see it. It's being built right now in the Netherlands to meet the standards that we have set. There are 4 gates in total. Each gate is 2.5 meters in width and can go approximately 1.5 meters high. So you have 10 times 1.5 meters is 15 square meters of water passage. And you can do the math very simply on how much water can flow through there when you do this. These things are controlled fully mechanically. They can be manually controlled also, but they are tied in on the electrical grid of GB, backed up by the generator of the sewage plant, which we have in our maintenance, and is a brand new generator that can carry the gates and the sewage plant very easily. Naturally, this will fall under the operations of water management again, and we hope to have these gates fully operational any place around March, latest April 2014, putting phase 2 of the IHE UNESCO project into operations. This is how it will look when it's finished. When you look from on top, a complete rock revetment on both sides to prevent any kind of unnecessary erosions. You know, we are still not fully aware of the final workout of the ring road, so we're going to protect this complete area with a rock revetment to ensure that when the water also goes in, it goes in without too much speed. We want to, slow it down a little bit. The new road, in principle, the walkway remains. We create a walkway over here, parking over here to work on this structure. So at night, you don't have to go and fight to look for parking. No, there's parking there. This structure is high enough that it warrants you to climb it with the stairs. You cannot just walk up like you walk up to the floodgates right now and stand up and look. You must climb up the stairs to be able to operate the floodgates. Now, like I said, it's an impressive site when it's finished, and it should do us proud and give us some more easement in water management from the fresh pond to the salt pond. What this floodgate can also allow, but again, with control, is to move water from the salt pond to the fresh pond. That would be if you would have a overflow like a Lenny, or like what we had in significant torrential rains, and you would want to open Great Bay Beach. We can open the floodgates and move water from here to there until we reach what we call the average level of the discharge to the sea and the pond, and then the waters will settle and they will not move anymore. That's, I believe, in a nutshell, that's the last slide, on what's going to happen and the time frame it's going to happen in. The project area does not affect the environment to our opinion, in no form or fashion. The project was designed based on IHE UNESCO, that is the organization based at the TU Delft. They designed, the criteria was given to us. We have not moved any mangroves or anything to that sense. The only species that might be affected is the tilapia, the invasive, non-indigenous tilapia species that causes more harm than good to anybody in Samaritan. Other than that, I don't foresee any environmental aspects being brought into question with the building of the floodgate at this point in time, no.
Okay, and my last clarification is the 14 structures that are being put in place, what exactly do you call those?
Those are just culverts. Those are the culverts. They're part of the culvert structure of the expansion of the floodgate.
Undoubtedly, this is a massive undertaking, Mr. Bankaba. You're referring to a time frame of 3.5 months to be completed?
Yes.
Approximately how many persons will be working on this project to realize the time frame that you referred to?
The project consists of different elements. All culverts were already prefabricated and are ready to be placed on the ground tomorrow. They have been prefabricated in the last 2 months already. So the project was granted in September, but naturally there was a lot of work to be done prior to ripping open a road. And all the culverts have been prepared. The final agreements on the floodgate design, because in every design there are always last-minute tweaks and turns on, do you want lights, don't you want lights, you want a swinging orange light there for safety, or don't you want it? Simple little things, gate heights and water levels were reviewed to ensure that every aspect of the floodgate was correct and it was ordered. The reason the project ends all the way in late March has to do with the delivery of the floodgate that comes from the Netherlands and will only reach here any place in late January, early February. If that floodgate was on island in December, the project timing would have been much less.
Can you give us an indication, if you may, as to how much this project will cost?
The project was a public tender. And after the tender was won, there was an adjustment to the project. The project cost is approximately 1.98 million guilders, all inclusive.
And this is being carried out by whom?
Excuse me?
This is being carried out by whom? The construction?
The construction was won by Winter Roads BV. The supervision is being carried out by the Department of Infrastructure Management under the auspices of Mr. Raymond Chittick.